This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with true heel heat wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Rob Van Dam. Listen to True Heel Heat. Pow.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW Dominion 2025 preview. Breaking down this Sunday show from Osaka Joe Hall, one of the biggest New Japan Pro Wrestling events of the year, and a big-time double main event to enjoy as well. And, of course, to break down all the goodness from New Japan Pro Wrestling, I had to call in the MC of the past, present, and future of NJPW here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, J-News. How you doing, good sir? It's been a while.
It's been a couple weeks, man, but I take off when the roster takes off. So, it's one of those things where
very fair.
Breaks are necessary, folks. Breaks are necessary. But ready to talk all this New Japan goodness. Dominion coming up on Sunday. As you said, man, this is probably outside of Wrestle Kingdom, like show number 2 of the year, I would say. So this is going to be an important show. based on where the outcomes lie. So we shall see as to how it all breaks down, and we'll break it down for the fans and the folks who join us in the chat. So appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yes, we always appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Either way, show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on the video. That helps the YouTube algorithms also much and helps other people like yourself get this New Japan Pro Wrestling content here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. It's a good way to get up to date on everything going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you haven't been watching, I think that like J-News said, like this is one of the more important shows of the year. So it's a good starting point if you haven't been watching New Japan as well. I think the best starting point is like a Wrestle Kingdom. But if you didn't catch up with the Wrestle Kingdom or you haven't been watching from Wrestle Kingdom until now, I think Dominion is one of their checkpoint events of the year, so it's a good place to start, and it gets you ready for G1 season, which we'll talk a little bit about here on the channel as well. And of course, if you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We've been hitting y'all up with our True Hill cuts from our True Hill Heat flagship podcast. You got shorts with recaps of NXT and TNA Impact. Sometimes we also got shorts from our True Hill Heat flagship podcast every Saturday here on the channel. We go live pretty much anywhere between 4 to 7 times a week. If there's an event, you always know we're going to be here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So it's a good time to hit the subscribe button as we're on our march to 25K here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel right now. And of course, if you're with us live, sound off in the live chat. If you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below what you think about the card. What's your predictions for this Sunday show from Osaka Joe Hall? And of course, if you're with us live, we'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel in the best way possible, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We already got in the chat with us Reginald Vell Johnson of Family Matters fame. Carl Winslow, good for you to join us. He says, hello, SP3 and J-News. How are you? Just having a drink and donuts, as Carl Winslow is known to do. Our favorite Chicago cop. We also got Christopher in the chat. He says today is Friday the 13th. It is. So if you're a fan of anything horror, it's a good day to watch some horror films, watch a Scream film, watch a M. Night Shyamalan movie, and have a good time. We also got I Make Beats in the chat joining us. Good to see you, I Make Beats. He says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you as well. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And yes, Dominion, I'm very excited for this Sunday show, mainly because of the top 2 matches. Like I said, I'm calling it a double main event. I haven't heard New Japan promoted as such, but it really feels like that is a double main event. But the rest of the card is really good as well. So as always, what we do with our pay-per-view previews, J-News, is from 0 to 10. How hyped are you? How anticipated are you for this Sunday show? NJPW Dominion 2025.
Nah, man. What can I say? I'm at a good solid 8 right now. Not trying to juice it too much at this point. I want to see the last couple of days how it all boils down. I think either today or this morning, either this morning or tomorrow morning, should I say, the press conference for the event goes down and whatnot, and we're going to get some further explanation from good brother Gabe about what the hell's been going on with him lately. So we'll see how that all breaks down. But no, man, like you said, the card is stacked. Really interested in obviously in the 2 matches that we had that are being mainly promoted. That being Tsuji and Gabe and Shingo and Goto and stuff like that. I'm actually looking forward to that dog collar match between Evil and David Finlay. Just wondering what the hell is happening with David Finlay really at this point. it seems like he's just got the best schedule in the world, man. He's working part-time. You know what I'm saying? So
when New Japan decided this year they weren't going to sign a lot of guys to full-time deals, he just said, you know what, I'll take my Brock Lesnar schedule up here in these streets.
So hopefully that turns out the way it turns out, and we're going to see, you know, we'll see who gets hung up in the dog collar during that match. I'm assuming both men will at some point, but we'll see how that all breaks down. But yeah, man, definitely I'm at an 8 right now, so Sunday can't come quick enough.
I would say I'm at an 8.5. I'm very close. Maybe as we talk more about the matches during this preview, and like you said, the press conference might get me at like a 9 before the show. And to answer this question, we always like to specify when the show starts for everybody. And I know a lot of our viewers here on the channel are from the US or from the UK. So for me in the UK, like I make beats in the UK, it's an 8 a.m. start time on Sunday morning. For you in the US, J-News, it would be a 3 a.m. start time for you. So not the worst of start times. I did love like during tournament season, they have a lot of shows that start at like 10 a.m., which is perfect for me even when I'm in the US. If I'm in the US, that's a 5 a.m. start time, and that's when I wake up for my kids anyway. So yeah, those are the perfect start times for New Japan shows to me. But 8 a.m., 3 a.m., not that bad. Not that bad from New Japan standards, really. But yes, I always want to specify that if you're in and if you're in Los Angeles, if you're on the West Coast in the US, that is a 12 a.m. starting. Yeah, so midnight. So it's really good for you guys on the West Coast, because you know you guys are probably coming home from the club on a Saturday evening, and then you just as you smoke your blunts with your friends, you could turn on some New Japan and have a nightcap watching some New Japan goodness, and the show might end by like 3 a.m. your time. So there you have it. But yes, we got a lot to discuss, a lot to get into. Remember to sound off in the live chat with your predictions. If you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below. What's your anticipation level for this Sunday's card? But we're going to start off with the preliminary matchup, a kickoff matchup, if you will. Is this going to be the Young Lions in action? Is this going to be Katsuya Morishima teaming up with Shomo Kaito to versus Dake Nagai and Masatoru Yusura? So these are the 4 young lions, the standout 4 lions from this class here. I know you're more akin to these young lion crew because you love to see the growth of what we're going here. The ones that I know mostly of is the Kaito, Nagai, and Morishima. I've established here that Morishima is my favorite of the bunch, but how do you think this is going to pan out? So I'm going to go with Morishima and Kaito in this one, but what do you think about these 4 gentlemen in the new Noge Dojo?
I mean, the Noge Dojo right now is it's packed, man. They literally have guys waiting in line right now to get some action on the pre-shows and things of that nature. As for these 4 gentlemen, these are the seniors of their current class. Murashima obviously leads by a wide margin right now. So it is what it is. Shoma Kato coming back from injury recently. Same thing with Yasuda and things of that nature. So that's the 2 of them. And Daiki Nagai seems to be the more charismatic of all 4 of them. So that's something to pay attention to from a character standpoint. But I feel like because of Murashima's advancement and all that stuff, he'll probably get the pin on one of the guys on the other side and stuff like that, and they'll take it that way. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, it seems like whenever Morishima's in these matches against the other young lions, he's definitely probably going to get the win. So it always seems so. But yes, we got more to discuss because the opening matchup is going to be kind of like a fallout from what went down in the Dog Pound Steel Cage matchup at Wrestling Dontaku in the beginning of May, as we'll have 8-man tag team action between the House of Torture and the Bullet Club War Dogs. The Bullet Club War Dogs of Drilla Maloney, Clark Connors, Taiji Ishimori, and the returning Chase Owens will face the House of Torture, Sanada, Ren Narita and Yujiro Takahashi, along with a new member of the War Dogs. I was about to call them the Bullet Club the Bullet Club House of Torture, but no, it's just House of Torture now because they've been kicked out of the Bullet Club. But the description on NJPW1972.com for this matchup says, with Evil and David Finlay set to collide in the dog collar chain matchup later in the evening, the War Dogs go once again to battle against House of Torture in our opener. This is no mere preview, however. Evil has promised a new addition to HOT will be revealed tonight. Who will X be? So not really a lot of other details that we know about this potential new member of the House of Torture. From looking online before our stream, there's been a lot of conversation that it could be one of the former members of Los Ingobernables de Japón, or someone that has a connection to these two factions. So I'll put my prediction out there first. I think X is Jake Lee. I think Jake Lee has crossed the line, just like Sonata. He crossed the line to the House of Torture. He's going to join up with House of Torture against the Bullet Club War Dogs. So if it is Jake Lee, I got to go with the House of Torture winning this matchup. J-News, who do you have as X? Who do you have winning this matchup?
Yeah, we're sharing a brain, bro. I thought the same thing. It was like, it just makes more sense. Jake Lee hasn't been around in a long period of time. People probably forgot what he was doing before he left at the end of the day. So it's like, all right, let's just fit Jake Lee in now that he's healthy. Yeah, I'm thinking it's Jake Lee too. He'll join the house. I'm probably guessing him and Sonata are going to tag going forward. Because the tag team division needs more help as they do. So there's that of it. And yeah, man, I never like to call House of Torture wins, but I feel like, with the impending return and things of that nature, it makes the most sense. I don't think any of the remaining LIJ members would return face, and obviously, with Naito and Bushi gone, they're not going to be back on a frequent basis, so that wouldn't make any sense. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Jake Lee and HOT wins, unfortunately, but yeah.
Well, you brought up Los Ingobernables de Japón. I wanted to ask you, because when we do our New Japan previews, it turns into part previewing the card and then also just running through news bits of New Japan. So it's better to get it out the way now. What do you think about the news of Tetsuya Naito and Bushi creating Los Tranquilos de Japón? Because they said that the copyright to Los Ingobernables de Japón was owned by somebody else, so they couldn't use it. So they've decided to go by LTJ, Los Tranquilos de Japón. What do you think about the new name, and what do you think is the future for Naito and Bushi now that they're not officially with New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I mean, I'm sure we'll see them all over the Japanese wrestling circuit. Probably, sporadically adding members through different companies and stuff like that. I see that happening for them, just so that they can, build up some sort of foundation for their new crew. Them being tranquilo is what it's all been about. They're just it's just an adjacent team to LIJ. The LIJ trademark belongs to New Japan, so they couldn't take it with them at the end of the day. So it is what it is. So there's that. But yeah, man, I think it's a good piece of business for them, and it'll allow them to make merchandise and things of that nature, and make them easier to follow when they get booked in different places. So yeah, shouts to Naito and Bushi for being able to think quick on their feet and just be adjacent to the old teammate.
Since we got the news out there, I'll drop another news bit that came out yesterday. So we got the news from New Japan Pro Wrestling officially that the blocks on the participants for this year's G1 Climax tournament will be announced. G1 Climax 35 will be announced at Dominion. And then they released a graphic for the G1 Climax that had Konosuke Takeshita a part of it, which led to Wrestling Observer newsletter making it official and saying that Konosuke Takeshita will be away from AEW from July through August to be a part of this year's G1 Climax. Outside of Takeshita, which has kind of been made official with them putting out the graphic, as well as Wrestling Observer confirming it, who do you think is going to be any surprise names from AEW, CMLL around the world in this year's G1? And do you think there's going to be any names from the New Japan roster that a lot of people aren't expecting to be in the tournament?
Well, I mean, that's interesting. When is the G? What's the official start date of the G1? Do we know? Do we have that?
Give me 1 second, because I think it was a part of this retweet that I made from Cultaholic. Cultaholic tweeted out what Wrestling Observer reported. Yeah, the start date is July 18th, and it's going to be July 18th until August 17th.
Okay, all right. So Big Soups, he'll still be in America for All In. So
yeah. He could be part of All In. He's a part of the build to All In. I think that Soups will be part of, if they do a casino gauntlet. He seems like a type of guy they would want to put in that. Like the MJFs of the world, the Soups, the Josh Alexanders, they seem like they are kind of not have like an official concrete kind of story going into All In, so you could throw a bunch of these upper card to main event guys in the casino gauntlet.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see that. But all right, so Soups in the G1. Who else? I don't know, man. From an AEW perspective, they've really gone random in the last couple of years outside of Takeshita being in the tournament. I wouldn't mind seeing Josh Alexander as a part of the G1, to be quite honest. I wouldn't mind that. But if I'm gleaning on dreams coming true, bring Big Bad Brody King to the G1.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that. That sounds perfect to me, because I feel like if Brody King is in the G1, it can have a similar effect to what we saw with Takeshita last year, where Takeshita had this breakout G1, and then when he came back to the States, Tony started actually taking him seriously and booking him like he is an upper mid-card to top guy in the promotion. I think that Brody King could have that same effect. Yeah.
I think if they only end up with like 2 AEW stars, if it's Takeshita and then the other one would be Brody King, being that they're on opposing sides of things on AEW TV, it would make sense to have Brody there.
I'm gonna shout out a person.
Yeah.
Two people. Either Mark Briscoe or Ricochet.
I love me some chicken, man. That brother's he holds a special place in my heart, but I don't know. I'm not too sure. Man got 8 kids. I'm not too sure if he wants to spend that.
This is true. This is a month. It is a month to be away. Yeah.
So there's that. Ricochet would be interesting. Probably finally having a heavyweight run in New Japan outside of the one single match he had at New Year's Dash, whatever the case is. So that would be interesting for him.
Wrestle Dynasty.
Wrestle Dynasty.
The main event of Wrestle.
Yeah. But that would be interesting to see. I'm thinking, man. Shit, man. If they really wanted to do something unique, in terms of having somebody be showcased from AEW outside of Brody King, if he's healthy, man, why not Buddy Murphy, man? Why not Buddy Murphy? Sorry.
He's not healthy, and if he is going to be healthy, that's what I'm saying. He's going to come back. He's going to come back to AEW television. He's got to come back to AEW television first.
You would think, but I just want to see good matches, man. I just want to see good matches.
I mean, Beats, this would be a great idea for Samoa Joe like 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, 10,
Samoa Joe now, nah. I can't see that happening. I would love to say someone like Claudio Castagnoli, but it really feels like he's slowing down, especially in this current Death Riders form. So yeah, those type of guys. I mean, if you're talking about people who, if they're healthy, I would love to see in a G1. Pac, I would love to see Pac in a G1. That would be awesome. But yeah,
he's a Dragon Gate guy though. He'll never I feel like he'll never do New Japan for obvious reasons or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Obviously, AEW has a lot of guys they can definitely put out there to travel who haven't been on TV lately, so they have a pick of the litter they could definitely choose from, in that regard. So, hopefully they have good representation, nonetheless, and they'll be able to show up during the G1. Outside of, but like surprise New Japan guys or guys like from New Japan that I wouldn't necessarily expect.
If they do a play in this year, I think that then outright being in the tournament, Callum Newman has earned his spot in the tournament.
Callum's earned his spot. If he's healthy, Hanare. If he's healthy, Hanare.
That'd be a good shout.
Yeah. So there's that.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. This would be the most surprising. You ready? Hiromu Takahashi.
That would be surprising. If that does happen, it would definitely be a shift in mentality over in New Japan. So I would appreciate that, seeing as to what the journey turns out to be. Yeah, that would be cool, man. That would be cool. Do you think we'll see any Noah guys in the G1 this year?
They kind of ease back from the Noah Association to me. From the outside, kind of looking in, it's kind of looked like they haven't been doing that quite often. If anyone, I would just say Kaito Kiyomiya again, because he's already got another shot at Ozawa and he lost. He can't. I think the stipulation before that match is that he can never get another title shot as long as Ozawa's champion. So, yeah, I think that he would be the only person that I would think would make that crossover.
Yeah,
and you got to put him in the same block as Oyoa.
That's true too. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I from a New Japan standpoint, I think if Jake Lee comes back as X in the tag match, he would be a good selection to be in the G1.
I think Drilla's going to be in his first G1.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know if to shout anybody else necessarily. Don't want to see any Shun Skywalkers of the world out here in the G1. I ain't trying to see all that. I'm not too well versed in All Japan anymore, so I wouldn't necessarily know if they would have anybody from All Japan in the tournament.
Is there anyone from CMLL you can see in the?
Those
guys are mostly he's
their biggest star right now. Zandakan Jr., the pirate.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing that. So I think it was Lucha Blog was like, oh, it's hilarious that the first person who wanted to push Zendaka in was Gato.
So he's been having killer matches, man. He's taking masks, he's cutting hair, he's doing all the things, man. He seems to be their brightest star right now. So that would be a good way for them. Outside of him, the majority of the other heavyweights in CMLL are some of the older wrestlers, really still. So, and I don't know if New Japan would want to go that route. You know what I'm saying? So, I think Sandokan Jr. would be a good choice there.
RPGs, this is a fine idea. I think we suggested this years ago. I think back when he was getting his first shots at the never overweight title, saying that Despy should be in the G1. It's the only move going forward. I don't think this year that's the move. That can't be the move. Especially if you're already teasing Hiromu Takahashi making that move, you are completely kind of paralyzing the junior heavyweight division if you're taking their top two guys. That wouldn't make too much sense. I think maybe next year you can move in that direction, but especially not him as IWGP junior heavyweight champion. Do I think he should be in the G1? I know they've done that with I think they did that with Will in years past. Will in 2019 as junior heavyweight champion. But I think that Despy, he has his focus on the upcoming matchup with with
Kasai.
Jun Kasai and the Death Match and the Death Pain Invitational, as well as Best of Super Juniors winner Kosei Fujita. I think that right now that's not the time. Next year, I am with you. That probably is the move going forward. But next year, that means that the Best of Super Juniors has to be focused on building new stars outside of just one main star like they did this year.
For sure. Greg Carter, good shout. I mean, Kento's always a good shout from All Japan. I just wonder if they would. I wonder if they would take. He's basically still their ace at the end of the day. So I wonder if they would do that.
Him and the Saito brothers.
Yeah. So it. I would like to see it. It's just whether or not New Japan would want to do it in that particular regard. So that's a good shout. So we'll see, but I we're probably going to have a 20-person block this year, right? 20 people, 10 per block.
I think they might do I think they should do what they did last year, where they announced 18 and then announced the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
I think the play-in tournament is good, especially when if you're announcing the participants on Dominion. It's nice to have something to follow going into the G1 and make the Soul Tour about the play-in tournament.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm all for the play-in stuff. The only thing I didn't appreciate about the play-in tournament last year was how predictable it was necessarily. So I would.
I mean, I don't think it was predictable. It's just how everything translated. It was predictable by the time they got down to like the two people. It's like, oh, you're gonna put the two new guys in there.
Yeah, so I mix it up a bit or whatever, and have that go down that way. But yeah, I'm with that. So yeah, announce the 18, have a play-in for the last two spots, and then go from there. I'm with that. Does Tai Chi make a return to the G1 this year?
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that when we talk about his matchup here. But we talked about the opening matchup. Then we'll talk about the other matches on the card here. We got some tag team action on this card as El Phantasmo will team up with his new best friend in Hontai, Shota Umino, to versus the TMDK duo of Zack Sabre Jr. and Roye Uyowa. These four men, when added on the Best of Super Junior finals in an 8-man tag team matchup with the Hontai foursome of ELP, Shota Umino, and DDT's Mao, and AEW's Nick Wayne picking up the win over TMDK. And now we got some more formal tag team action. You heard in the post-match to that matchup that Zack Sabre Jr. told Roye Uyowa that's his NJPW World Television Championship. We also noted on commentary during that matchup that Zack Sabre Jr. had been traveling with ELP around the world on the independent scene, so they are familiar with one another. And of course, Zack is the first ever and longest reigning NJPW World Television Champion, and of course, he has a long history with Shota Umino, who he faced in the main event at Wrestle Kingdom 19 in January. And Roye Uyowa and Shota Umino are both Noge Dojo graduates. So a lot of crossing of ties, a lot of interweaving of stories going on in this tag team matchup. And it should probably set up the next NJPW World Television Championship matchup coming out of this. Who do you got here, J-News?
Well, for one, I would like to say we're probably going to see all four of these gentlemen in the G1. So I just want to say that. And then secondarily, if I'm going based off of what's been happening as of late, me still not knowing what the hell they're doing with Shooter at this point, I got TMDK for the win here. So yeah, we'll see how it all breaks down. I can understand New Japan still making Shooter's character development evolution, kind of vague, but it's like we've got to get a hard line somewhere and whatnot. So for right now, since it's still all vague and we're still all in the gray, TMDK being that they are the more solidified team between Zack and Oiwa, I think they get the win here and they go forward from there.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I got TMDK getting the win. I think that Roya Uyawa will get the shot at ELP. I think they'll probably do that on the Soul Tour coming off of Dominion, because you're going to need some title matches, and they usually go with more of the mid card, lower tier titles on the Soul Tour. I think the Soul Tour will be about like the play-in tournament, but you're also going to have like the Kosei Fujita versus El Desperado U Junior title match on that tour, and I think you'll have ELP defending the TV title against Roya Uyawa. So I think this should be a good matchup though on the undercard here. Then we got going up a bit, a singles first time since his excursion singles matchup, as Hiroshi Tanahashi will go one-on-one with the newest member of Hontai, Yuya Uemura. These two men have teamed up on many of occasions, with a lot of comparisons being given to Uemura in regards to him being a younger version of Hiroshi Tanahashi. This is a part of the Tanahashi Final Road. Reading from NJPW 1972.com says, as Hiroshi Tanahashi's legendary career ends its final chapter, he continues to face opponents who represent the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Up next is a man many have seen as a spiritual successor to Tanahashi and Yuya Uemura. The only time he faced Tanahashi was during his Young Lion days, a bout that ended in a loss, but has received high praise from the ace, who has proclaimed Uemura more than strong enough to carry New Japan. Will the sun that is Yuya Uemura rise against the sun-setting Tanahashi at Dominion? This is a big spot for Uemura to get the Tanahashi singles match. Dominion, like I said, is one of the biggest shows of the year. So I'm going to say this is one of the people that Tanahashi is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to put him over. He's been putting over a lot of the present guys. I think that this will be a rare, and he put over the future in Shota Umino. And I think Uemura's future is a lot brighter than Umino at this point. So I'm going to go with Yuya to pick up a big victory, one of his biggest of his career so far. J-News, what do you got here?
I do not disagree with you. The only thing that I would have to add is that I feel that this would be a very emotional match. There will be lots of heartstring pulling. There will be lots of Tanahashi ugly faces during the match and things of that nature. We'll see that. We'll probably see one of those, because it won't be his final retirement match, but we'll see one of those moments where you're more just he's in conflict over what to do and whether or not to be Tanahashi. Like, we'll see that spot in the match. But I definitely do feel that this will be an emotional one. Hopefully Uemura is able to get a good and decent match out of Tana in this one. I think the last time Tana was in the ring, it's been a couple of weeks, so he's had time to rest up and things of that nature. So I think this should be a decent enough go about for Tana in the ring. But yeah, man, Uemura for the win, because Tana's going out on his back here. I did want to say one thing, necessarily, not particularly about the match, but you did make a poignant comment about Tanahashi taking on the past, the present, and the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And never in my mind have I ever wanted a person's WWE contract to expire more this year than one particular person. And I never vote for people ever losing their jobs and things of that nature, but I wanted to put that out into space because shit, man, without Shinsuke, man, this retirement tour is not going to be what it's supposed to be.
It's not going to be complete. It's not going to feel complete.
So I just wanted to mention that out of the sake of mentioning it. But this, like you said, man, I think this is going to be an important win for you or more. At the end of the day,
I got an interesting question for you, because we're at the halfway part of this Tanahashi Final Road. Where does Nakamura rank as far as your top 5 Tanahashi rivals? And who's ahead of him?
He's top 3 in my book.
Okada's number 1. Obviously, it should be number 1 for everybody.
Yeah, Okada's number 1. If I'm looking at it objectively, I think Shinsuke's 2. And then to round it out, If you're going top 5, who's still around, man? I'm freaking.
To me, because I haven't watched as much of his career as you, I would say like, there's a couple of people that come to mind as far as all-time rivals for Tanahashi. It would be Okada at the top. I agree, probably Nakamura is number 2. Tetsuya Naito has to be in that conversation. I don't know if he's number 3, but he has to be in that conversation. I mean, there's guys like Kenji Muda that he faced like before me, but it wasn't really like one of his main rivals.
Yeah, because Muda was still on. He was in his last. He wasn't in his prime per se, so I wouldn't necessarily put Muda top 5.
Minoru Suzuki.
Sure, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I can see that. I know they didn't face off too much because they were always on the same side, but I always did have a affinity for the early on matches between Goto and Tanahashi. So yeah.
I was gonna say someone that's more recent that I would probably put ahead of Goto if Goto's in that conversation. I think him and Zach. Zach has low key over the last 5-6 years has become into that conversation. Maybe not top 5, but definitely a top 10 Tanahashi rival.
I can see that. Yeah. That is Zach's a good shout too, man. I definitely like Zach as a shout. I'm trying to think of like all the other the other former factions. Like I'm going like through Suzuki-gun in my head and like the other iterations of teams and stuff like that. So yeah, like top 5, that would be it. And mind you, Tana did a lot of work outside of New Japan too, early on in his career. But not enough to where it's like, oh, this was a rivalry type thing. You know what I'm saying? So there were matches that he had against Marufuji. There were matches that he had. I think he took on Misawa at one point before he passed away, if I'm not mistaken. So, there's but New Japan top 5. Man, Shinsuke, Okada, Zach. I probably put Zach at 3, just because the last 5 to 7 years have been that strong of a point.
I think number 3 for me is Naito. The Naito series from like 20, because they faced in like the G1 final in 2013.
Right.
Then they had the matches at Wrestle Kingdom in 2017, the Dominion match in 2017. Also, they had their own trilogy that no one really talks about because they were going in their trilogy at the same time Omega and Okada had their quadrilogy. But I thought that their series, I would put him at number 3, Zach at number 4. And then, Goto, Minoru Suzuki, those type of guys is like in that conversation for 5.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, it still boggles my mind, man, that Naito's not in New Japan anymore, bro. It's like I haven't been able to break the tie physically, So, yeah.
We got RPGs that says Inokinism got to be in top 5 rivals of Tanahashi.
I mean, man. Look, at the end of the day,
Shibata.
Yeah, that's what he means.
Yeah.
Man, I have such an issue with the Shibata shit, man. not the matches themselves, just the relationship, right? That New Japan and Shibata, that relationship. Because we don't necessarily know if we're gonna, like, for me, like, if we're doing, man. If we're talking like top 5, Shibata would definitely be there, but Shibata's more. If Shibata's top 5 for Tanahashi, Shibata's number 1 for Goto. So,
yeah, I agree there. I agree there. No, I was thinking though, what we should do is do a rewatch series towards the end of the year for Tanahashi before his retirement. Because right now we're doing on Patreon, if you haven't already. Go to patreon.com/True Hill Heat. We got our Okada Omega rewatch series with me and Jimmy Macaram, where we rewatched so far we rewatched the Wrestle Kingdom 11 matchup. So good. It's so great on rewatch. Like that match, even Jimmy, who's like the most miserable wrestling fan that I know, he was like, that's one of the greatest matches he ever watched.
You know what's interesting, dude? There's this one particular Twitter account that's been getting a lot of love over the last couple of weeks that had never watched New Japan. As Dante something, I forget what that is.
Dante Kuro, yeah. Because he's the one that kind of like, I was like, I seen him, and then I saw other people that were saying like they were rewatching the Okada Omega, and I was like, yeah, that would be cool. Like Jimmy, I was like Jimmy was the main person I wanted to get on board with this, because I know for Jimmy, he's only watched the first match. He's never watched 2, 3, or 4.
Okay. Yeah, man, people introducing themselves to that style of wrestling. I think folks would get I think the idea of understanding why people hold Okada and Kenny Omega in such high regard makes sense for people to watch those matches. You know what I'm saying? So that and what you were basically implying, Tanahashi's greatest hits, man. Tanahashi's greatest hits, there's quite a few.
Yeah, we might have to start in like the fall to make it through everything, because like I really want to rewatch the main Okada matches.
Yeah.
The main one, starting from New Beginning in 2012 onward. I want to watch all the main ones to the big one at Wrestle Kingdom 10, and then of course the record breaking matchup in 2018. I want to watch that as well.
And for folks who haven't or who've never watched Tana in his prime, that man was different. That man was different in his prime, which is why he became the ace of New Japan, man. At the end of the day, they talked about the Three Musketeers and things of that nature, right? So it's like, it's what Tanahashi and what Nakamura stood for New Japan Pro Wrestling in that stage and era. It brought them back to prominence at the end of the day. So definitely watch those matches. We'll come up with a list, I guess, and we'll run through them. There might be some
the Okada series, the big Nakamura matches,
the Naito matches.
The Naito matches, yeah.
I think I might just join Wrestle Universe for a bit, just to see his All Japan work, just so we can see his stuff with Miyahara as well. That stuff was pretty good. There is there's a lot of ton of stuff that we can go through. So.
All right, but next up on the Dominion card, now we're into the title matches on this card here, as we got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships up for grabs, as Yo and Master Wato will defend against the House of Tortures, Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. In this year's Best of Super Juniors, these 4 men went at it in singles competition, with Sho picking up a win over Yo in the in the B block, with help from House of Torture, of course, in Kurgan Hall. And then you also had Yoshinobu Kanemaru picked up a tainted win over Wato in the A block, thanks in large part to Sho getting involved in injuring the leg of Wato that set up the victory. They once again picked up a victory in multi-man action, the House of Torture beating Hontai at the Best of Super Junior final, with Yoshinobu Kanemaru once again getting the submission victory with the figure 4 on Wato. I think the leg injury will be a big part of the story going into this matchup. And of course, you got to mention Yo coming off of a career-defining performance in the Best of Super Junior final against Kosei Fujita. So who do you got here, and what do you think about the build that we saw throughout the Best of Super Juniors tournament?
I think that the build. Look, I gave him credit, and I'm gonna continue to give him credit, because career-wise, he's a freaking Hall of Famer, and I'll give him his nickname back. Shouts to Uncle Nobu, man, because at the end of the day, the heel master does heel master stuff better than anybody else in the business. At his age, it's just super impressive. And then secondarily, how he was able to communicate his brand of in-ring violence it's mastery at its best. I can give a shit about Show, but let's be real, man. Let's be freaking real. Give a shit about Show right now. But the way that they were able to build on Yo and that match, man, that freaking finals match at the freaking Best of Super Juniors finals, it put them on the map. And
rated 5 1/4 from Dave Meltzer.
Come on, man. You know, and Wato still. It's a running gag, but it's true. He's still on his way to the Grandmaster, man. So it's a running gag. He's still his way there, man. He's right now. Not to say that he's coasting, but you know, after he came back from the injury and stuff like that, I feel like he's still trying to find his footing. Obviously, they're the IWGP Tag Team Champion, IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions right now, but you know, there's only but so many spots at the top of the junior division, and obviously he holds one, being half of the tag champs and stuff like that. But I see Yo and Wato winning this match, but I also see the heel master doing his fair bit to make sure that his team wins, because all Show is going to do is freaking try to commit a crime, and I ain't for that shit.
Use a wrench and a push-up bar.
Yeah, I ain't with the shits. So, yeah.
I think that Master Wato and Yo retain here. I'm already picking House of Torture in one matchup. Please believe I will not be picking them the rest of this show. Won't be doing that. You won't find me doing that. Won't be going for House of Torture more than once. And Yo and Master Wato feel deserve it. I'm not saying that it's not out the realm of possibility, because they love to play hot potato with these junior heavyweight tag team titles. But considering Master Wato and Yo literally don't have a defense under their belt, I think they should at least get one defense, and that seems like it would be here.
Yeah, one defense makes sense, and then I'm more than likely they're probably going to have rematches versus TMDK down the road, and whatever combination of United Empire guys that they bring together at this point.
Which will probably be Francisco Akira and JAY.
Yeah, the JAY, the one and only Jacob Watson Young. So there's that of it. And
or Francisco Akira and Templario, one half of our NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Champion.
Templario is willing to travel, so I can give him that. Templario is willing to travel, so there's that part of it. Obviously, Yo and Wato representing Hantai /Chaos /////. So unless they come up with another Hantai team, we'll see those guys in their position for quite some time, and maybe they can bring in other challengers from other places and stuff like that. Not for nothing. For the lack of use that they get over in AEW has a lot of junior heavyweight tag teams. They really do, or quite a few, should I say?
Yeah.
So
I would love to see Top Flight in New Japan.
I'd like to see Top Flight. I would like to see Leo and Andretti get a shot over here.
Getting a shot at the CMLL tag team titles when they go over to Mexico.
So there's that part of it. I think that it would be interesting to see Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian come together as a tag team. I think that would be interesting, just to liven up the division. You know what I'm saying? So that's it's they're not, a lot of those guys aren't being used, man. So it's like let them. This
is very true. We got news today.
Japan.
Private Party looks like they're on their way out of AEW.
Oh, are they? Damn.
Their deals are up soon. That was the report from Wrestling Observer newsletter. We'll talk about it more tomorrow on the flagship, but I would say their contract being up soon and the fact they haven't been used in 6 months, signs say they're leaving.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, them as well, because they're in that weight class and stuff like that. Guys like Private Party and things of that nature. I would give the guys who aren't getting TV time reps at the end of the day. So why not?
Kid and play. That was funny.
That's right.
We got next for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It's going to be Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi challenging the champions, United Empire's own Great Okan and Callum Newman. Callum Newman and Great Okan won the IWGP Tag Team Championships on the road to Wrestling Dontaku. It was Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi who stepped up to the plate as the first challengers for those titles after they won the vacant titles from Bishamon. Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi picked up a victory over former IWGP Tag Team Champions Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi as part of Naito's farewell tour that they had in the build up to Wrestling Dontaku. So they have stepped in the line. They're looking to get there, and it's been showing a lot of aggression between the two teams, especially when it comes to Taichi and Callum Newman. Kind of Taichi showing a little bit of jealousy so towards Callum Newman with his rise up the ranks in New Japan Pro Wrestling, coming off of his IWGP Heavyweight Championship matchup against Goto at Wrestling Dontaku. They got into a fierce brawl with one another during the Best of Super Junior final, so we shall see how physical this match is turned to be. But you got Tomohiro Ishii in there, you got Taichi in there. It's gonna be physical, it's gonna be hard hitting. J-News, who do you got here?
Just because I'm in the seat, I'm in the realm of continuing to push the future of New Japan. I got the United Empire winning here. Callum Newman and the Great Okan, even though Okan's falling flat on me, man. I'm hoping Callum picks up the work here and does some good stuff. I'm sure he'll mix it up with Taichi and Ishii, and they'll be able to retain those championships. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm going to go with a title change here. I'm going with Tomohiro Ishii and Taichi to pick up the victory here, mainly because I want Taichi to earn his spot into the G1 without going through a play-in. And the only way that they've set it up on commentary that he needs to win a title if he's going to get into this year's G1. And I think that Taichi was one of the biggest kind of I want to say it's like a misfire, but a missed opportunity not pitting him in the G1 last year when he was really firing on all cylinders. I thought that Taichi as a singles performer has really stepped up, and you can just look at the New Japan Cup with his matchup with Zack Sabre Jr., which was one of the best matches of the entire tournament. I think that he can do that in the G1, so let's give him the title here. Let's have him hold it into the G1, and they'll probably lose those titles right after the G1, but let's get them into the G1 climax this year. And the same could be said for Tomohiro Ishii. I know that Ishii is not the performer that he was many years ago, but I think that there's still some juice left in Tomohiro Ishii, and if he's not going to be a part of AEW that often or not going to be a part of anything important in AEW, then let's use him in this year's G1, give him one last ride in the sunset, one last G1 before he calls it quits.
That's an interesting take. I'm not against it necessarily, but I do want Callum Newman's star to continue to progress and burn brightly. But he can do that during the G1. He doesn't necessarily need to be half of the tag team champion. So there's that part of it. And Okan can be Okan at the end of the day. So, yeah. Why not, man? One last hurrah for Big Tom and Taichi. Hopefully makes some inroads in the tournament if they do win the tag team championships, even though I don't see it.
I don't really see it either, but I'm trying to be positive here. Because I need one good title change, because I don't know if all these other ones are going to pan out, but we got in another big title matchup here for the Never Openweight Championship is going to be Konosuke Takeshita defending against Boltin Oleg. These two men have clashed on many of occasions. Last year in the G1 Climax, they had their first matchup with Boltin Oleg picking up the win. To that point, that was like Boltin Oleg's best matchup that he has had in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They face once again after Konosuke Takeshita won the Never Openweight Championship in another great matchup earlier this year for the Never Openweight Championship with Takeshita retaining. And now we got a big time rematch here at Dominion. Boltin Oleg has been picking up victory after victory in multi-man action, and he looks to pick up the biggest victory of his career for the Never Openweight Championship against Takeshita here. The fact that this is now their third, fourth matchup that they've had against one another, the fact that they've gone back to this matchup, unfortunately, despite me loving Takeshita as an Never Openweight champion, I think this is a title change. I think Boltin Oleg gets the win here.
I mean, everyone's allowed their opinion, but I am not riding that train.
I love Takeshita. I think Takeshita is in the conversation for a top 3 in-ring performer of 2025 so far. I am just going by the numbers and going by New Japan Pro Wrestling booking. I think that Takeshita is going to have one of the better performances in this year's G1. It might go far, depending on what the format is. I could see him going to the semifinals or even the finals this year, but I don't see him going in as champion.
Yeah, nah, he retains, man. I'm not getting on the Boltin Oleg train. I'm not doing it. He's not there yet, man. He's just not.
I don't think he's there yet either. I am going by New Japan Pro Wrestling booking, sir.
He's not there yet. I'm sure he'll be in the G1. He'll be eating pins, so they still need that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, nah. Take, Big Soups. He retains here. He'll probably have his second best match of his career. That being Boltin Oleg, Boltin, whatever you want to call him.
His third best match of the year of his career.
Yeah,
all the matches with Takeshita are his best matches.
So there's that of it. Yeah, man. Yeah. Big Soups for the win. I ain't fucking with that shit.
All right, something I think you will fuck with is I can see you once again choosing the drug user side in this one, because we got our dog collar chain matchup, dog collar chain death match. It's going to be David Finlay of the Bullet Club War Dogs going one-on-one with Evil. These two men, of course, led their individual factions, the Bullet Club War Dogs and House of Torture, into the Dog Pound Steel Cage matchup at Wrestling Dontaku after they went to a countout finish in the New Japan Cup with David Finlay picking up the win there. During the Dog Pound Steel Cage matchup, it was the War Dogs who picked up victory in that one. But after the matchup, it was Evil who got a measure of revenge by hanging David Finlay with the dog collar over the cage wall until the Bullet Club War Dogs made the save for Finlay. Post-match, in the backstage comments, Finlay issued the challenge for a dog collar matchup against Evil for Dominion, and that match was made official. Evil has gotten into the head of Finlay due to his vicious attack on the Bullet Club War Dogs at the Best of Super Junior final. After defeating Gato, he had the House of Torture attack Gato. Taiji Ishimori and Clark Connors tried to make the save, but they were beaten down, overwhelmed by the numbers of the House of Torture, and it led to Evil hanging Gato, who is Finlay's mentor and manager. So once again, showing that mind game, that control that Evil has on the road to this matchup. Can Evil get a measure of revenge once again by beating David Finlay, this time in a dog collar chain match, or will Finlay once again cement the dominance that the War Dogs have over House of Torture? J-News, what have you thought about the build up to this matchup? Who do you think wins this Sunday?
For all intents and purposes, man, I'm going to be objective here. The build-up for this particular matchup has been done well. I'll say that. Secondarily, if folks are watching for the first time and they're not aware, David Finlay and we don't see eye to eye. That's really what it is at the end of the day, you know. I believe.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah. I believe there's a young lady who follows us on our socials who's a big David Finlay fan, and she. I think all of her posts have started to sway me just a little bit. But I'll say this. Just because I hate Evil even more, right? Because I don't have any love for Evil. I got no love for Evil. I got love for the War Dogs. And because David is, quote unquote, the boss dog, I'm going to give David this win, right? Because David needs to go into the G1 strong. Obviously, he did strong in the New Japan Cup, obviously. So even though he didn't come out the other side of the New Japan Cup with anything, but I think he needs to go into the cup, into the G1 strong. Another violent match for David Finlay here. I expect there to be a good amount of chain swinging and people hanging from ropes and things of that nature. Maybe even some color, who knows? But yeah, David Finlay for the win here, and I hope that at the end of it all, we don't even see Evil anywhere near the G1. That's my hope from this match. That's my hope from this match. David Finlay,
music in my ears.
David Finlay, do the Lord's work. Get the machine gun out. Spray him all out. And take Evil out in this dog collar match, because we need that. We need that.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this matchup. Really,
Same.
I think this matchup is one of the better built going into Sunday's event. That it's been basically building ever since New Beginning, when Evil came back into New Japan and wanted to kick the Bullet Club War Dogs out of the group. They had their first matchup of this whole rivalry at New Japan Cup, and then you had the big dog pound steel cage matchup at Wrestling Dontaku, and they kept up the heat from there as well. I think that Evil has a good chance to pick up the victory here, considering that Finlay won by countout in the New Japan Cup, and then the War Dogs won in the dog pound steel cage matchup. But y'all don't know where I stand. I was a person who was very critical of David Finlay. I was very critical of the man. I was like, he was cosplaying. He was a mix of Jay White and Evil when he first started in the Bullet Club War Dogs. But my man has transformed into one of the very best in-ring competitors in New Japan Pro Wrestling today. He deserves this spot. He deserves this win. So I'm going with the Rebel. I'm going with the Rebel King. I'm going with the Savage King. I'm going with the Savage Savior. I'm going with the Boss Dog, David Finlay, to win the dog collar chain match for sure. And you talk about David Finlay, and you know who's going to show up in the chat. We got a super chat donation from the good brother, J-News #1 fan, Genesis J, who says, when the real Boss Dog speaks, we listen. Thank you, Genesis J.
There it is, Genesis J.
You're talking about J-News.
As always. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to put this out into space because it just makes sense to me right now, man. It makes sense to me right now, especially after everything that's happened in recent months. Where does Goto align himself if this doesn't go the way it's supposed to go?
That is the key, and he's been showing. He's been like subtle hints that he might turn.
Yeah. So if the Boss Dog loses this match, it won't be of his own volition. I'll say that. So, but I got David Finlay winning though. Let's just hope Goto stays sane during this match.
Yeah. All that out the way. Let's talk about the double main event. And the match I'm looking forward to the most on this card is a rematch from the New Beginning in Osaka, the double knockout finish that was one of the best matches of the year in all of pro wrestling but this time it's gonna be even more physical, even more hard hitting. But I think we're gonna get a finish this time, as Yota Tsuji will defend the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against the Bullet Club War Dogs, Gabe Kidd. It was Yota Tsuji who picked up the win over Yuya Uemura back at Wrestling Dontaku to retain the Global Heavyweight Championship, and he called out Gabe Kidd to come down to the ring to be his next challenger. He said he defended the title against him, but there was no winner. This time he wants a winner. Gabe Kidd was all war ready. Both men have showed respect to one another, as saying that they are the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they have different ideologies. Gabe Kidd has called out Yota Tsuji for not doing charity work and not doing the ambassador work, the interviews that he has done. And then Yota Tsuji just sunned him by doing charity work anyway and overseas. But Gabe Kidd has been in the line of fire from a lot of the New Japan fan base, as well as Yota Tsuji for his current use over in AEW, where he's aligned with Jon Moxley and helped Moxley retain the AEW World Championship, becoming a sort of Death Riders adjacent member while still being waving the flag of New Japan Pro Wrestling and waving the flag of the Bullet Club War Dogs. So where does his loyalty align? But that is all out the window when the bell rings on Sunday. These two men are going to go out there full throttle, show that no gay spirit. This is one of the most anticipated matches that I've seen in a very long time out of Dominion. I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the year. I love the build to it. Gabe Kidd, new champion. Madman becomes the mad champion this Sunday, because we know the rules. I say it all the time. We know the rules here in New Japan. Someone's going to lose a title, and that someone who lost the title 9 times out of 10, if it's going into tournament season, they're going to win that tournament. We just saw it with Kosei Fujita losing the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships mere weeks before the start of the Best of Super Juniors and then going on to win that tournament. I think we're going to see it again with Tsuji losing the Global Heavyweight Championship before he is the odds-on favorite in this year's G1. But Gabe Kidd, new champ. J-News?
You're not wrong about how things usually break down. Guys lose championships, tournament season comes around, they go on this run. Makes sense, right? It's just the way it's always been booked, necessarily. When you started talking about the match initially, in my head, I was just war ready. At the end of the day, I feel like Gabe is he's due to be crowned, right? That New Japan Strong Championship wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? He needs to hold IWGP Gold, and IWGP Gold counts as this Global Heavyweight Championship at the end of the day. The only thing about him winning this would be how they position him in the G1. Who he ends up losing to in the G1. Who do you see? Like, things of that nature enter my mind, right? Because I'm with you. If Tsuji loses here, Tsuji wins the G1. There's just no way around it at the end of the day. Because somebody's got to dethrone Goto at some point. And whoever Goto gives the rub to, it's gonna matter at the end of the day. So yeah, man. Shouts to Ninja Mortis in the building. Yeah. And
to answer Ninja Mortis, yes, he would win over Takeshita. Takeshita is not a New Japan guy. He's a 3-contract wrestler. He's not going to be here full time. You need to make one of your homegrown stars, the winner of this year's G1. I think Takeshita will beat Goto in the G1 to set up a title match, maybe as quickly as 1 week after the end of the G1 with Takeshita versus Goto at Forbidden Door at the end of August. I can see something like that, but I don't see Takeshita winning the G1 with the fact that he is a DDT AEW guy as well as being a New Japan guy. 100%.
Yeah, it's either Tsuji or Uemura. It's one of those two guys that Goto's putting over at Wrestle Kingdom. Let's be clear. He's putting them over at Wrestle Kingdom. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Gabe Kidd for the win. This should be a banger of a match. Their last match, like these guys are really, really, you know, for folks who don't necessarily understand the trope in wrestling, people who are really good friends outside the ring always bring the best out of one another inside the ring. And these guys are really good friends. They do have a passion for the business and a passion for New Japan. So I expect them to do nothing more than great things in this match. But I do expect Gabe to pull this win out and become the new global champion. Yeah, after that, I'm not sure as to where it all goes, but Gabe wins, man. Gabe wins.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'll have a write-up for a preview for Dominion up on SI.com, probably either later today or tomorrow. That will be up, but it's also going to be talking about the other half of our double main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The two greatest men to hold this specific title will clash as Hirooki Goto will defend against Shingo Takagi. Takagi picked up a huge victory over Shota Umino back at Wrestling Dontaku. Following Goto's victory over Callum Newman on that show, it was Shingo who came out after Zack Sabre Jr. issued a challenge to Hirooki Goto for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, a rematch that he never received after losing the title at New Beginning. Shingo said he would let them have their clash at Resurgence, and then he wanted the winner. At Resurgence, Goto and ZSJ went to a double pinfall draw. So the winner, the still champion, was Hirooki Goto, who has a record amount of title defenses in the shortest amount of time. He's only held the title for about now 4 months, and he is going into this probably the toughest test of his title reign yet against Shingo Takagi. Takagi has made it no secret he's a man without a country at this point. He's lost Los Ingobernables de Japón with the departure of Tetsuya Naito, so the group is no more. He says that he has no family, he has no kids. Like Goto has dedicated a lot of his run to his kids throughout this title, this revolutionary title reign that he's been on. But Shingo doesn't have any of that. The only thing he has left is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and the moniker of being the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. For him to keep that moniker, he needs to be the man to beat the man that a lot of people are saying has surpassed him with this title in Hirooki Goto. This is for the legacy of this championship. This feels like the biggest test yet and the biggest matchup of Goto's reign so far at the biggest stage possible outside of the Tokyo Dome in Wrestle Kingdom at Dominion, Osaka-jo Hall. The crowd should be on fire behind Goto, behind Shingo. They're going to probably be split in this one, but I think that this one is another one, just like the previous matchup. I think this is going to be a match of the year contender when it really comes down to it. J-News, what have you thought about the story that they've told so far heading into Sunday, and who do you think wins?
The story has been something that has been well thought out. Shingo Takagi being a man without a country is still a tough sell in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's still fresh that LIJ is no longer a part of New Japan. I'm still in the boat of Shingo Takagi being the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. Goto is damn near number 2, even in this short reign. He is damn near number 2. But I did say if Hirooki Goto were to beat Shingo Takagi, that Hirooki Goto would then surpass my Rampage Dragon. In with everything that's going down and how everything has been, the fan reactions, just the swell of support behind the Goto Revolution. I can't say that it would be just as important of a win or put over if Shingo would go to Wrestle Kingdom as champion and put over one of the younger guys. It's got to be Goto. Just the way they're telling the story. I usually never pick against Shingo, but in this case, objectively speaking, and even subjectively speaking, ain't nobody beating Goto right now. And this should be one hell of a match. Like SP3 said, this probably is going to be a match of the year contender. But Hirooki Goto will continue the revolution, and he will get the win here over the Rampage Dragon, and he will cement himself as the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time in a short iteration. Where Goto goes from here, I don't necessarily know, but once he gets this win, he cements the legacy, and there's no stopping him, man. He's going to go all the way to Wrestle Kingdom, and he's going to give somebody the rub. So that's all I got.
Yeah, like, you know me, I've been on that bandwagon too, Shingo Takagi. Shingo Takagi's been one of my favorite wrestlers in the world since him coming to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I still go back and I talk about the Will Ospreay Shingo Takagi Best of Super Junior final is one of the greatest matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling history. It's one of the greatest matches that I've ever watched. And from there, Goto has become one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. I loved it. I enjoyed his stuff from Dragon Gate. I enjoyed when he was in Dragon Gate and he traveled to Ring of Honor. And that was my first time kind of seeing him on the DVDs back in like 2006, 2007, and, Dragon Gate USA and everything in between. But him in New Japan has just been different. And that was kind of peaked with his 2021 title reign. And the fact that this matchup is taking place in Osaka, it's a place that has a lot of meaning because a lot of the story with New Japan is about location, is about the setting of the matchup. And Osaka is a very important place to both men because it was in Osaka this past February that Hirooki Goto started this magical run, the Goto Revolution, with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And then back in 2021, it was where Osaka-jo Hall was where Shingo beat Kazuchika Okada to become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at Dominion 2021. To me, I think that Goto has already surpassed Shingo, mainly because Shingo's run happened during the pandemic. He had to hold it down at the toughest of times, but you didn't get the crowd reactions like you're getting from Goto. I think that Goto's title defenses, his win, I think has surpassed Shingo already. But I do agree with what J-News, his sentiment that this matchup is like solidifying that he has surpassed him as the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. I totally agree with you. It needs to be Goto who passes the torch to the next generation at Wrestle Kingdom. So I also agree with you. I'm going with Goto to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and what I expect to be a hard-hitting instant classic in Osaka-jo Hall. I think that crowd is going to be on fire, and they're going to be rocking with these two guys as they cook up one of the best matches of the year for New Japan Pro Wrestling and probably one of the best matches in pro wrestling this year. I think that has that type of expectations a part of it, and I think they're going to hit it and maybe even surpass it.
Yeah, man. I don't disagree. These guys are pros at the end of the day, and they know what they know when to turn it on and when to turn it up, and they're going to do it against each other at the end of the day. And so, they'll both walk into the G1, on whatever sides of the block they're going to be on, because I don't have any doubt that they're both going to be part of the G1. And we'll probably see Goto's next contender be whoever beats him in the G1 somewhere in the tournament and all that jazz.
Yeah. The only person that I'm sure if they're in the same block, I think Takeshita beats Goto in this year's G1.
That's such a tough go, man. Such a tough go right now, because you know how good Big Soups is, man. I don't know if we're going to be. I don't know if we'll do that, man. But yeah, at the end of the day, like this should be a banger match, man. There's going to be a lot of, like you said, a lot of physicality. It's going to be hard hitting and stuff like that. But there's also going to be a ton of emotion, just like you said, based on the location alone. When you started talking about it, I was like, yeah, man. In my head, I was like, didn't Shingo win it at Dominion? And I was like, yeah, he did. And because my memory shit, so me remembering that is something within itself. But yeah, man, this is I expect big things. I usually go into most things without great levels of expectation, to be quite honest. I always like to be surprised about stuff, but with this, just with the competitors being who they are, it's like if they stink up the joint, which I don't expect, that would just be a letdown. But this is gonna be something great, and they're gonna pull out all the stops, and people are gonna realize as to why Shingo Takagi was recognized as the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion for a while. This match is gonna solidify that even within the loss. Man.
Yeah. 1A, 1B right here. We'll see it on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to this show. Like I said, it's mainly because of the top two matches, but we went over. The dog collar matchup is gonna be very physical, probably get some color there. The Takeshita and Bolton Oleg, every time out they've had a banger. That's gonna be another banger between those two guys. The tag team title matchup, I think, will surprise people for how good it's gonna be. The junior tag team title matchup, it will have your House of Torture shenanigans, but hopefully with the baby faces winning, that is a good outcome as well. And Tanahashi and Uemura, I think all Tanahashi has done during this final road is surprise the hell out of us with pulling out good to great matches, and I think he can do that again with Yuya Uemura if given the time. So really looking forward to Dominion, one of the biggest shows of the New Japan calendar year. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Let us know if you're watching us on demand in the comments down below your predictions. Who do you think is going to win? What's your anticipation level? Let us know there. But I want to thank J-News for joining me today, as always, on this New Japan Pro Wrestling goodness. And we'll be back Monday, right? Monday, we said before, Monday to review this show from Sunday. So go out of your way to watch it. NJPWworld.com. It's only, what is it, $8 US or 10 yen?
I think it's still $9.99.
Oh, $9.99. Yeah, $9.99 or $10 yen, whatever you want to call it. But yes, new NJPWworld.com. It's a great way to watch all this product if you want to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. J-News, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they shall see you again.
So, folks, you can always catch me on the Twitter machine at JohnLYFNMG. Catch me on Instagram _JONJY. You'll see me again on Monday. My podcast with the lovely Dolores, the Hit the Roast podcast on Sunday, will be won't be going down this week due to some scheduling stuff that me and Dolores have to get straight. So you'll be seeing me on True Heel Heat on Monday afternoon. It's going to be me, SP3, and probably our Never Openweight 6-man tag team cohort, Sanal, doing the review on Monday. So check that out as it comes forward. And we'll probably do a preview of the G1 when the blocks get announced and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that as well, folks.
Yes, I'll probably see if we can do something for the Soul Tour, which, like we said before, is going to have some big title matches as well. We might do that before we get to G1 season, which once again, that's going to start on July 7th, but we'll get some information on that during Sunday's show. We'll get the first announcement for the participants. So we got a fun summer ahead when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling content. So stay locked here, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Heel Heat, patreon.com/TrueHeelHeat. It's the best time to become a member, become a backer over at Patreon. $3 a month gets you exclusive content, which now includes our Okada versus Omega rewatch series, where me and Jimmy Macaram are rewatching every matchup from the historic quadrilogy between Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. We have the first one up from Wrestle Kingdom 11. Me and Jimmy rewatching that. We'll be back with the Dominion 2017 rewatch coming soon over at patreon.com/TrueHeat. You also got right now our TNA Against All Odds review with myself breaking down the latest TNA Plus special. So you could go over and check that out as well. We had a part 1, part 2 for our AEW Summer Blockbuster review. It was 4 hours, so we broke it up in 2. No, I'm just joking. Freaking Google shut down yesterday during our original stream. So you can see the first half where we mainly just shoot the shit as we usually do. And we also talked about the great Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay 2 matchup. And then the part 2 was everything else that went down from Summer Blockbuster, including the announcement for the new unified championship in AEW, as well as the great angle that went down with Kazuchika Okada joining forces with Don Callis and attacking Kenny Omega and spitting out all that blood. That shit looked like an anime. It was awesome angle they did on AEW Summer Blockbuster. So go over and check it out. Check out part 1 and part 2. Help us out. Hit the like button, and it helps out the YouTube algorithms for both parts of that video. But of course, I will be back tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. It will be myself, the True Jaw Josh, Top Guy JJ. We'll be talking about everything that's gone on this week, including WWE Money in the Bank with the return of R-Truth, all the fallout from that, and Triple H's comments during the post-media scrum. We'll be talking about WWE and Triple A's Worlds Collide and the popularity of Mr. Iguana. We're going to be talking about this week in pro wrestling with AEW Summer Blockbuster, with Monday Night Raw, NXT tonight, SmackDown, and everything in between. So stay locked. Come join us for the True Hill Heat flagship podcast tomorrow, back at the regular time, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. But for J-News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. Enjoy this Sunday show, NJPW Dominion 2025. This has been our preview. We are signing off until next time.